What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brad, joined by my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
So, you know what? Let's get right into it. It's been a pretty good week. Our Lord and Savior John Cena is back. WWE. Very exciting. Come on, you can't tell me that this match isn't going to be not only is the match going to be tremendously fun, but the build to it is also going to be tremendously fun because John Cena had some of his best mic work done during that initial Roman Reigns feud like 4 years ago.
I think the build will be better than the match, and that is not to disparage the two gentlemen that will be in that match. I think Roman Reigns has always been a good wrestler. You just didn't like the way he was packaged. Not you, Brad, but you, the haters.
The royal you.
Right.
You people.
Right. And look, as much as you all hate John Cena, you all jumped out of your chairs when you heard Abu Doo or whatever.
Dude, it's nice to see him finally get his flowers, I guess you could say, by the fans. Yeah,
like absence makes the heart grow fonder, man. Like I get it, right? I get it. Like WWE's antiquated notion of the whole product being surrounded by a guy is just, it's very old school and it's very WWE, and it's not very, there are no shades of gray there, right? Which means it's generally not interesting. But I'll be damned if you don't. That's why Hogan got them pops for so long, right?
Yeah, I really wish they would stop doing that. That pleased me to see at WrestleMania that he was reaction for. I think all the millennials have grown up enough and are dominating enough of the crowd now to get those Gen Xers and Boomers that still want to cheer for Hulk Hogan out of the way.
Right. Like that's the thing, right? Like, and the whole attitude era was like one of the reasons people love it is because like Stone Cold was the guy, but he had Triple H and The Rock and all those guys directly like nipping at his heels. You know what I mean? Everybody felt like they were like they were super duper stars. And then the Ruthless Aggression era happened, and like John Cena became the guy, and then Roman Reigns became the guy, and then during the COVID era, Drew McIntyre became the guy, and now people are sick of Drew McIntyre. So, but look, it was really fun to see him back. I can't wait, like you said, for the back and forth. Now that Roman is not, suffering succotash, son, like now that he's got some swag to him, now that he got some bass in his voice, you know what I mean? Who's the bitch now? Like now that he's got some bass in his voice, I feel like he's going to be able to go tit for tat with John Cena, who's always been tremendous on the mic, which is very odd. He's like tremendous in the ring on a mic, but like he seems like a robot outside of all of that. You know what I mean? It's weird. But yeah, I can't.
Perhaps in the ring is the only place where John Cena can truly be himself.
Yeah.
Of like this, and instead of him becoming what he made fun of for many years to drive a storyline home. Speaking of things I made fun of for several years that I'm now, immersing in. Persona 5 has like the slowest burn of any video game I think I've ever played. Like it's very like they introduce new stuff to you, but they drag everything out, and I think it's just because of how the game is formatted, where like you're basically doing delves every couple of days into a dungeon and then just kind of doing busy work in the meantime. And so like you said, like I just for context, I just finished the second palace, and that's like the thing that I wanted to talk about with it being a slow burn is that while I'm enjoying Persona 5 and I'm still continuing to play it, I don't feel like compelled to go back and like I'm not salivating for my next session with Persona 5 ever.
The pacing in Persona 5 is the biggest issue it has.
Yeah.
And it's why I stopped. And I made it all the way to like November the first time. God help you if you do a palace early, right? Like if you do a palace,
that's where I'm at right now. I just finished the second palace, and I have one in-game week before like the resolution of that palace is going to happen based on when like the deadline was for it. So I know like basically the next session that I have of Persona 5 is going to be me just living the life of like Terry McGinnis basically for a week and a half essentially. This is, by the way, like Persona 5, I've also determined is the Batman Beyond video game, essentially. Like you're literally like Terry McGinnis Batman in this game. You're trying to go to school, you're trying not to flunk, you're trying to hang out with your friends, but also like you solve crimes at night in your spare time in your cool suit.
Yeah, you put on an all black suit, put a mask on, and you have a grappling hook.
Yeah,
like
in crazy futuristic locales with over the top villains. Yeah, like it's literally Batman Beyond.
I have a new appreciation for Persona and Batman Beyond after that, hearing that comparison. The pacing is the biggest issue, and that's the thing. That's the gameplay loop.
Well, and what's funny is that so like the pacing is the biggest issue, but simultaneously I feel like it's too much time to kill, but at the same time I never have enough time to do everything I want to do, which I get it is the whole point. Like you have to make hard decisions and put your focus and spread your focuses, and you're never going to be able to do everything that you want to do. So you have to kind of pick and choose. Like if I get a part-time job, like how am I supposed to hold a part-time job down in this game?
Well, it's the easiest part-time job. Do you have one yet?
No, I think I applied for one, but I never heard back. I guess I have to go there and be like, hey, I put in an application.
Yeah, you have to go there. And it's the easiest part-time job you'll ever have. You go whenever you want to go. It's just another.
It's just like you get out of school. You're like, you know what? I think I'll go to work today.
Yeah,
I could use some pocket money. You're the most lenient manager in the world. Like you just make your own schedule, even though you're like working 3 hours a week or whatever it is. Like it's fine.
Like, just you can only go on days where the store is open or whatever. If you go,
so it's like when you worked at GameStop at the end, like before. Yeah, once you had like your real job, you're just like, I'll just come when I want. Like it's
just
fine.
Come in.
I'm here for the discount.
I'm right down the street. I'm just here to check out games and get a discount. That's it.
So like I said, I'm having fun so far. There are better RPGs from a like action standpoint, like as far as like how the combats play out. Like the combats are fine. Like it's I beat the boss of the second dungeon on my first go because I kind of figured out like, okay, in this game every boss is going to have like a thing, and you have to figure out what the thing is and then and exploit those mechanics essentially. Like I got that after the first encounter. So the second one went much smoother. It's cool. Like I said, I like fusing personas. That's fun to me to kind of just constantly mix up what your main character's skill set is. Forget everybody else who just has a fixed a fixed path that they have to walk along. But you can fix your shit up. So it's cool. It's hard to like. People are like, oh, this like Persona's a reasonable platinum. And in the early going, I'm about to say in the early goings of playing it, like I'm just like, how? I don't understand how it is.
It's not a reasonable platinum. I defy someone to play that game once all the way through and get a platinum.
Right, and max everything out, like max out all your confidant relationships. Like you just don't have time. Like I got shit to do.
Right.
I have to go whittle lockpicks at my bench at home. and watch Not the X-Files on TV.
Yeah, I just watched Guy McVer, about a guy who can make tools and use a lot of improvisation. Guy McVer. So it's that was my only issue with Persona is that it once you get and then like looking for a new target. Like once you have a target, everything is like compelling.
Yeah.
Right. But it's the bullshit, right? Like it's the anime bullshit that you gotta kind of push through. But once you do,
it is very anime. Like I chuckled to death at the scene where like my cat was picking a lock on a door, and like a character was trying to distract another character, and like she was like talking to the cat. But the guy's like, who are you talking to? Even though they're like all three people are like literally within 2 feet of each other essentially, but the cat's just like around a corner. I'm just like, all right, I'm willing to suspend my disbelief somewhat to allow this implausible anime situation play out in front of me. Like that. It was pretty funny. I like Yusuke a lot, by the way. He's fun. But yeah,
my favorite character is the character that you meet after that.
Okay.
You've probably met that character, but
if it's the nerdy investigative high school Snoop, then
the student council president.
Yeah.
The student council president is my favorite character. Okay. I love her.
So far she's you know, she's slimy. She's like the episode of The Simpsons where Bart like became the hall monitor unexpectedly after going on a ride along with police. So we'll see. Like I said, I'm still playing it. I've got nothing better to play right now. And trust me, I've looked. So like Death's Door came out. So speaking of releases, like Death's Door came out today. I'm interested in that game. Not on Game Pass, which is weird. It's an Xbox and PC exclusive, but it's not on Game Pass. And like I was watching Skill Up do a review on it, and he's like, I don't understand why this is exclusive, because it's not benefiting Game Pass because it's not on there. And meanwhile, like this is a game that belongs on the Switch and it's not on the Switch, at least not yet. But it looks cool. It looks
I'm looking at a video of it now. Yeah. It does look cool. I think developers have the choice to opt in or opt out of Game Pass, even if they're like exclusive. I don't know what the financial
right, but like Microsoft had to pay Devolver to get console exclusivity in the first place. So like if you're going to pay them for console exclusivity, like why wouldn't you just pay them to be like, hey, put it on Game Pass and just call it a day?
Yeah.
What is this game? $15? $20?
I think it's 20. Okay. I think it's 20. Right. But I don't know.
Give them $3 million and call it a day. Like they're not going to make $3 million from sales of this game on Xbox, I don't think.
I think you're right. But I don't know. I'm waiting for what's that game that comes out next month? The Ascent, the Descent.
Oh, the Ascent. Yeah, I'm all in on that. That's going to be on Game Pass. I'm really hoping that the cloud works well enough to play it. Because I played the last bastion for xCloud is I booted up on my Mac. Weirdly enough, Mac, worst experience of all three platforms that I used the cloud on, between my phone, my iPad, and my computer. The computer was the worst. Yeah, go figure. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, that's weird.
But that is the case. So I'm really hoping that it works well on the iPad. Like the iPad, I think will be a good thing for the Ascent. I can use my DualShock 4 with it on an Xbox, which is fun. Like that's just a fun novelty to be able to use a PlayStation controller on Xbox.
It's a brave new world.
I know, but I just hope it runs well because I watched the developer a developer gameplay video of the Ascent that came out recently, and it looks really fun. But that's not out this week. Cloud in the House is out this week on PC. Cotton Reboot comes out on PlayStation and Switch.
I don't like the name of that.
Chris Tales comes out on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and Stadia. I had this bookmarked because it looks interesting, but I need to look into it more. It's an RPG, from what I can tell. Pokemon Unite. This is the free-to-play Pokemon MOBA, comes out on Switch. So, I'm going to give it a try. We'll see if it's any good. If it'll be just Nintendo's League of Legends. Song of Farka comes out on PC. Super Samurai, Waves of Steel, both on PC. Last Stop comes to PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. Akiba's Trip, Hellbound, and Debriefed comes to PS4 and Switch. Micah, don't. Observer System Redux comes to PlayStation and Xbox, and then Orcs Must Die 3 comes to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Micah, don't buy Akiba's Trip Hellbound and Debrief. Come on.
I just want to. I have no idea what this. It's some anime shit.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the Akiba series is an anime bullet hell game with very scantily clad, like schoolgirl anime people in it. So basically, it's right up your alley for your like one guilty pleasure, like Senran Kagura-esque anime purchase per year.
Yeah, I'm torn, right? Because I like all that ichi scantily clad shit, but I have no patience for a bullet hell game. So what's gonna weigh out my patience or my perviness? I don't know. I think my patience. I'm looking at this now. I think my patience is going to win out.
Good.
Is that it for the new releases?
That's it for the new releases.
Then why don't you listening go to densepixels.com/fans and hop into the Discord. We have all kinds of very fun conversations there. You can post anything related to video gaming. If you got some streams you want to pimp, it's a very good place to do it. If you're looking for people to play with, we got a looking for group thing. You can post things in our post office at any time, and we will read them. And we're fans of the wrestling, and you can post your thoughts about Big E being Mr. Money in the Bank.
Oh, we'll talk about it later. It's in the post office. So
excellent. So while you're on the internet, go to youtube.com/densepixels and subscribe. You can look at us. You can look at Brad and his spiffy haircut. You can look at me and my Morgan Freeman dots that I have all over my face. Yeah. This is why newscasters don't want HD cameras around, folks, because you can see how old I really am. But you can do that by going to youtube.com/densepixels and subscribing. And while you're in the subscribing mood, subscribe to all of our podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, including the Nerdpocalypse, the flagship show going on 10 years, Black on Black Cinema. We are recording this week. We are recording Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, the Sidney Poitier movie, not the Bernie Mac Ashton Kutcher reboot. And quick preview about that episode. Jay sent me a message, quote, "Boy, this is going to be a fun episode to talk about white liberalism." So I can't wait to have that discussion. Coming Distractions, our contemporary movie review show. We review movies like Black Widow, that just came out, The Forever Purge, that just came out, The Tomorrow War, for some reason, that came out. And you get the weekly preview episode of the Look Forward Political Podcast. That's a lot of podcasts, but it's just not enough for you hardcore podcast listeners. So go to densepixels.com/premium, and for $5 a month or $50 for the full year, you get access to the premium slate of podcasts, including the Airing of Grievances, which is coming back. Hulu decided that Hulu doesn't have Seinfeld anymore. And Netflix is going to get it, but it's going to be a while. So we have to dust off our DVDs. You kids know what DVDs are?
I wasn't sure if you both owned it on DVD. I was going to offer to let you borrow my
of course,
my set as well. So
of course we have them on DVD. So we're going to have to blow the dust off of the DVD player, because I'm not putting a DVD in my PlayStation 5 or my Xbox. I'll be damned. And we'll get back on those. No Time to Bleed, The Men with the Golden Tongues, which Brad and I will soon schedule for Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. That'll be a very interesting conversation.
Buckle up. You want to talk about political discourse?
I just want to say "la le lu le lo" as many times as I possibly can. upstage conversation and the full 2-hour-ish episode of the Look Forward Political Podcast, all available at densepixels.com/premium.
We've actually been keeping that to us felt like 90 minutes, but like it's a bonkers last half an hour, like well worth the extra $5 for that. I feel like that, like I should have to offer a defense to the white liberalism critiques that you guys are going to have on Black on Black cinema, but I also have the feeling that I'm probably going to agree with like everything you say. So we'll see about that. So the Steam Deck got announced. This is the new portable handheld kind of PC, I guess, that's coming from Valve this winter.
Valve is calling it a PC with a controller strapped onto it.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's true. That being said, I was surprised, but I shouldn't have been surprised that you bought one, or that you
I reserved one.
Okay, you put a $5 deposit down.
I put a $5 deposit down. I don't know if I'm going to get it yet, but I was talking with it is, and I was talking with my brother-in-law, and he was like, "Oh, come on, man, you got to do it, man, you got to do it." He was like, because guess what? When it comes out, I know you're gonna want one. And what you gonna pay eBay prices?
How long has your brother-in-law been with your sister?
They've been together for like 7 years.
Okay, so he knows.
He knows me.
He knows what you're all about.
Yeah, he knows I'm full of shit. Yeah,
and I don't even think he listens to this show.
He doesn't. Like that's just how transparent I am. That is how predictable I am. As you wrote in our show notes. But he was like, "What you gonna pay eBay prices for it?" He was like, "Go on eBay right now and see what the Steam Deck, the lowest one, is all going for." And the first one I saw was going for $1,000.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Like, so I was borderline offended that they offered a 64 gigabyte.
I know.
Version of this. Like there's certain games you won't even be able to put on there with 64 gigs. Like, come on, this isn't like I get that this is a Nintendo Switch, but it's not a Nintendo Switch. Like it's like they're advertising it to be something more.
Yeah.
I also like how like the trackpads on the system both look like, if you guys have ever like bought electronics, and like when you open the box, there's that like black sticker that they put on the inside that actually has like a theft prevention device on it. Like they both look like that. Like am I supposed to peel these off of the controller when I get the Steam Deck? So like I said, it's got a 3.5 gigahertz processor. It's got, let's see here, 1.6 teraflops of GPU. Woo! 16 gigs of RAM, which seems like overkill. I got to be honest. Like of all the specs that they beefed up on this thing, like fucking, like I feel like 8 would have been fine. You can expand the storage with micro SD. I highly recommend you don't, because I can't imagine games running off of a micro SD card are going to be a terrific experience for like high settings games. Here's the other thing. So it's a 720p screen. It's exactly like the Switch. So it's 60 hertz, which is good, but 720p. Now I get with a screen that's that small, like resolution is not as big of a deal because it's still going to look pretty good. And apparently it'll go, like when you dock it, and it'll work with any USB-C dock. Apparently, it can go up to 4K, which I guess is cool if your dock is compatible as such. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good product, but I think that again the 64 gig offering is insulting. So for me, like the starting price for this thing is $529. For $529, you get a 256 gigabyte SSD inside of it, and then they have a 512 gig model for $649, which is crazy. People are like really excited about this. I don't know who this is for.
I'm not terribly excited for it.
Yeah,
but I'm excited enough to waste $5 on it.
Well,
but,
you get the $5 back if you don't end up buying the thing, right?
I don't know. Oh. I don't know. But look, it's $5, right? Like I'm cheap, but I'm not that cheap. You're right. My big problem is I need to, between now and whenever this comes out in 2022,
Mhm.
was when my reservation is am I going to actually use it?
Right.
Um, because I already have my consoles for when I'm sitting here. Um, when I go back to work in September, I'm
Mhm.
not going to be on the train for a while, just because I don't feel comfortable. So I'm going to be driving, and then when I'm at my desk, you know, this thing isn't exactly inconspicuous. So
You know what it reminded me of when I first saw it. You know what it looks like.
it looks like a Game Gear
It
to
looks
me.
like a Game Gear. That's exactly what it
Yeah.
looks like a new age Game Gear. Like I feel like the optimal consumer for this is someone who like plays games on Steam, but not like your PC is like an insane rig kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you don't have like a good laptop to play games on, but you like want to be able to take your Steam library on the go.
Yeah, and that's kind of me, right? Like I have games in my Steam library, games that I can't play anywhere else, or games that were so dirt cheap that I don't mind rebuying. And and they're all old games, right? Like cuz my PC is decent, but it's not even decent. It's like slightly below average. But but um but I could play some of those old games on it. But I'm never going to play anything like high end.
Mhm.
And if I do, I'll just like I got $1,000 worth of console hardware that I can play it on. So, but I don't know. I'm very curious about the actual tech. Like
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see what this thing actually is. So we'll see. We'll see.
So here's my next question, and I don't feel like this was answered one way or the other. Do you need constant connectivity to play stuff?
Um, it's Wi-Fi only.
Right.
Um, and I think you only need it to download games. Like if you have a game that you want to play that is required to be always on, then you got to be somewhere with Wi-Fi capability. But there's no cellular, so you're not going to be able to download games on the go. You're just going to have your library with you.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's
yeah, yeah. I
I
mean, if
mean,
they added cellular to it, good God, man! Like
yeah.
I'm not
I mean,
paying $800 for this thing.
there's some very cool things about this. So it has like an Ethernet jack built in on it. It has a couple of USB ports so you can plug in peripherals to it and they work, which is nifty. Like there's a one of the screenshots, one of the press images they released is
Ridiculous image of two people with
yeah,
fight
Fight
sticks
Sticks playing what
crowded
looks
around a
looks
7-inch
like Guilty
screen.
Gear or something on this teeny tiny screen. Um, yeah, it's interesting. 2 to 8 hours of battery life, depending on quote how taxing the game is. So don't run anything that's crazy on there, I suppose, unless you want to play it for like an hour at a time. And you get all the other like Steam features like chat and cloud saves and remote play and stuff like that. Like I said, it seems like a cool product. A lot of people were just like, oh, like Nintendo, put out the OLED Switch, and then Valve actually put out the Switch Pro. But I don't agree with that, because the thing that makes the Switch is Nintendo's library as well. Like it's like you can't just put out a high end handheld and be like, boom, like we just did the Switch Pro. Like, well, no, because you still don't have Mario or Zelda or any of these other
Yeah,
games that I want to own the Switch for. Like this is why I own the Switch.
right.
Um,
Like the Switch is designed for certain experiences, especially Nintendo games are designed for the Switch to have, that type of experience. Like this is just literally a pocket PC. And I yeah, I don't know. But you're right. Like I don't understand the gaga over. I understand the gaga over like the tech aspect of it because people like to see big numbers and people like shiny hardware, but it's not gonna replace the Switch.
Numbers aren't even that big though. Like it's not like this is like it's not like it's again it's not even 1080p native resolution on the thing.
Yeah,
it's the same resolution as the Switch is. And on a small screen, like I mentioned, it's not that big of a deal, and you can always export it out. But I don't know, like it just seems like that Valve is not like they see Nintendo killing it with the Switch, and there's like, how can we make some of that money? Here's the problem though. I remember when Valve came out with like the Steam machines, 6 or 7 years ago, and those were like nothing. Like they just put them out there, and we're just like, look, it's like a console version of a PC, but it costs kind of as much as a PC, and like no one cared. And then they came out with like that whack ass controller. I have to at least hope that the controller is better on this thing than the Steam controller was, because that thing was abysmal. That reminds me, we still need to do that controller tournament. We need to start getting that together. So
yeah, I totally forgot about the Steam controller. That's
don't worry. So did the rest of the dustbin of history for that matter. So Netflix apparently wants to get into video games. They hired Mike Verdu, who used to work for EA and Facebook, to kind of lead it. And they kind of want to do like an Apple Arcade thing. They actually announced today that they're going to start like putting games out, but on mobile. So like they're going to like start putting not like anytime soon, but they're going to start putting mobile games out, and you'll get it as part of your Netflix subscription. So you can play on your phone, I suppose. I would imagine that they kind of want to do something similar to what xCloud is doing, essentially. Like I think they want to be able to just kind of stream stuff to people. I'm weirdly bullish on this, just because like Netflix, of all like the streaming companies, like Netflix has that figured out the most right now. Mm-hmm. And that's, to me, that's like the biggest obstacle with the cloud, is it's just the streaming quality is spurious, you know what I mean, at best in a lot of cases. So like if you're going to have someone do it, like have Netflix do it. Someone also like data mined like a PlayStation logo with like Ghost of Tsushima and stuff like that on Netflix as well, and people are like, oh, I wonder if PlayStation's talking to Netflix. That would kind of make a lot of sense to me if that was the case. Like if PlayStation partnered with somebody to do cloud instead of trying to figure it out for themselves.
Yeah, it seems like a PlayStation thing to do, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know about streaming. Yeah, like Netflix are like the masters of this, but I don't know, streaming games I feel like is a bit different. I feel like they would be better suited doing an Apple Arcade thing.
Yeah, well, that's kind of, it seems like at first that's what they want to do, and I guess they'll kind of test the waters out with that before they kind of go headlong into like full-fledged games. So
yeah, I mean, look, they this article mentions like the synergy that can be done with it, right? Like Netflix has the Castlevania anime and the Witcher series and stuff like that. Like just imagine you get finished watching season 2 of The Witcher, and all of a sudden, things you may like, and then here's The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt or something like that. Yeah. I don't know. I still need to watch that show. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's good. Like the second season's coming out in December. You'll like it. It's fun. It's like it's like it was a refreshing breath of fresh air after having come through Game of Thrones, which is so fucking heavy. Yeah, like Witcher's like that level of fantasy, but like it doesn't take itself seriously at all. So like you can just kind of it's just more popcorny than Game of Thrones was, which was welcome. Good. I feel like that Netflix would be super smart to get stuff like Life is Strange and things of that nature on there sooner rather than later if they decide to venture into this, because that kind of like flows into what they were doing with Bandersnatch in a lot of ways. Yeah, it's kind of like just the next evolution. I feel like that with games, narrative driven games like that, you could easily pull in folks that are just using Netflix for movies that don't really play games and get them curious about it to kind of get people along. So I feel like that's like low hanging fruit that you'd think that they would go after pretty heavily too.
Yeah, especially because you can control those things with a remote control, right? Like you can, they're essentially the next evolution of point and click adventures, and you can maneuver a little bit better than like if you put everybody has Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has Netflix. If your device has a screen on it, it's
Whether
got
you
Netflix
fucking
on it.
use it or not.
Right, exactly. So for people like my mother who doesn't know how to turn the television on, she could be able to control Life is Strange with it. Like you put this in her hand and she's like, I don't know what to do with this. But if you put something like a point and click or an old school adventure game on, it'll be like you said, a real good gateway game. That's not just a phone game. So I don't know. We'll see. You got to take big swings, right? Like that's why Netflix is where they are,
Mhm.
right? So
I feel like they don't swing wildly though. You know what I mean? Like Google, like when they got in the stadium, we were just like, ah shit, like we're gonna see how this goes, because Google's famous for like kicking tires on shit and then never like following through completely. Like they half-ass a lot of stuff. Netflix doesn't really do that. Like they kind of go full ass towards everything. Whether it's designing, doing their own content or like building up their streaming library, all the documentaries and stuff like that. Like that's so that's why I'm a little bit more bullish on them getting into it than like Google, for example, which is weird because like Google's one of the 3 biggest fucking companies in the world, but yet they can't seem to, venture out into spaces that everybody else can.
Yeah.
Same way.
Meanwhile, Tony
Meanwhile,
Stark built this in a cave
yeah,
with a bunch of scraps. Like that's Google.
Meanwhile, fucking Fortnite is about to have like an Ariana Grande concert apparently soon. So
a concert in the game.
Yeah, like they did with who's his face with Deadmau5. So
wow, Jesus,
video games, man. I don't know, like imagine talking about this with like if you could go back 30 years to your 10-year-old self and explain to him what video games are going to be like in 2021.
Right, man. Like remember that dog that laughed at you every time you missed shooting a duck? Yeah, nah, man. Nah, it's gonna be pop concerts inside.
Yeah. Well, what would that be to like 10-year-old Micah? Like imagine like in a video game, but it's like a Milli Vanilli concert, like they're performing live.
So imagine MC Hammer being in the video game.
Is it weird that I'm like kind of intrigued by xDefiant, which got revealed yesterday by Ubisoft, the new free-to-play shooter that's coming, the 6v6 shooter that's coming out supposedly this fall?
I'm very curious as to why you are interested in it.
It looks fun. So first of all, let me get this thing out of the way first. How is this a Tom Clancy game in the first place? Like it's a good thing Tom Clancy's dead, because I feel like Tom Clancy would have questions if he saw the trailer for Tom Clancy's xDefiant. Like, what does this have to do with me? Well, like, Tom, there's real weapons in the game.
Military.
So here's the thing. So with games like this, so like I never quite got into Overwatch, right? And Overwatch is a fun game. Like I like Overwatch, and I especially like the part of Overwatch I like the most is like the hero ability, right? Like it's Destiny, right? It's Destiny.
Yeah.
So xDefiant seems to me like the most Destiny-ish of these style of games that's coming out, because as they themselves said, or actually they didn't say it, somebody else said it, one of the people covering it, it's like 80% Call of Duty and 20% Overwatch. Like I kind of like the appeal of having like more like realistic gunplay, but still having those hero powers that kind of differentiate the different classes with one another.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's what the Division tried to do. right? Like they tried to make a Destiny clone with no aliens in it. And I understand the market that they're going for. I just at this point I don't like the way Ubisoft shooters just play.
Yeah.
I just don't like they don't feel right to me. None of them. And maybe it's because I'm so used to playing that like bullshit ass arcadey style that Call of Duty has.
Mhm.
Um
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Ubisoft has never really come out with an FPS. Like they kept like promoting this as like this is Ubisoft, which is wild to me to not talk about it from the developer, but like this is Ubisoft's take on a first person shooter. And I'm like, I thought about it, I'm like, wow, yeah, no, I can't think of any FPS.
yeah, I don't think they have. I mean, maybe it'll feel different,
Yeah,
but
unless you count Far Cry. Like if you're gonna count Far Cry as an Ubisoft FPS, but to me, like that's an open world game that just happened to have FPS mechanics in it.
yeah, and if we use Far Cry as the benchmark for that, I still don't like the way it like I still don't like the way it plays, right? Like it doesn't feel, there's something about the feel of it that it doesn't jive with me. It's serviceable for that style of game, but like you ever play Far Cry multiplayer? Like it doesn't
They
feel right.
have that. I didn't even know Far Cry
Yeah,
multiplayer is a thing.
they had Far Cry multiplayer in like one game.
What did you do?
What was it? Was it in the CM Punk game in Montana? I can't remember, but it wasn't that fun.
Yeah.
And it just was it was kind of lame, and it didn't feel right. So I will be curious to see how people react to it.
Hmm.
Um on a gameplay level, on not necessarily a gameplay level, but like on an intuitive like how does it feel?
Yeah.
How does it feel? Like this would be a game that I would most definitely get a demo for or something, just because I'm curious how.
You could sign up today for playtesting if you want to on PS.
Nah, I'm not that interested.
But like for me, like so, like again, Destiny is the shooter that I played by far the most of any shooter in recent years. And again, so like Destiny weapons are like, though they are fantastical, they're kind of not. Like their guns are actually kind of like standard guns, and the thing that makes them cool is the perks on them. And it feels like that's what this is going to have essentially. Like they're going to have, like, you'll be able to personalize, your character and your guns and stuff like that. I am worried that it's going to be like loot boxy in that way.
Mhm.
So that's a concern. I do applaud them for not doing a battle royale, because if you would ask me like what XDefiant is going to be like when this was being speculated on, I would have bet that it would have been a battle royale game, because like Ubisoft has never not seen a trend in gaming that they could not have just grabbed the coattails of and ridden as hard as possibly can, but always late to the party.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I saw the trailer for this. It looks like it could be cool. I'm curious, and again, it's going to be free, so I'm going to at least try it when it comes out and see if it's any good.
That'll get you.
That's all they need to do. That's all they need to do. So according to them, they can call this a Tom Clancy game because the different factions that are in the game are inspired by other Tom Clancy games like Splinter Cell and The Division and Ghost Recon, essentially.
Nah, yo, he's just bastardizing that man's name, yo. Like, come on, man. Come on. Like Rainbow Six was like the old school Rainbow Six, where it was like a simulator. You know what I mean? Like you had to prep before you breached the house. You had to rescue hostages, and like one bullet would kill you, and it was only on PC. Like those are Tom Clancy games to me, man. Like
I wonder if just to stick to the Clancy ethos, if like there's just gonna be some random story in the game and it's like, oh, the congressman did it, he's been pulling the strings the entire time. Like now it's the Clancy game. Okay, I got you. We're good to go. We've made a political thriller out of our 6v6 multiplayer shooter. No, this looks silly. It does very much look like though that they're trying to It looks like they're basically trying to make Apex, but without the battle royale component. That's the first thing I thought of when I saw this. Like, I'm like, oh, look, they're making Apex Legends. This is what they're doing.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like I said, the more the merrier in the free to play shooter space.
Yeah. I can't wait to watch the new season of Jack Ryan, where Jack Ryan is wearing a fucking fireman's coat with a gas mask and a paintball thing on his back, and is wearing just a bunch of neon, because that's what Tom Clancy is, apparently.
So we didn't talk about this a couple weeks ago when it first hit the news. Like, so there was this like cryptocurrency farm in Ukraine, and it was notable for our purposes because there was like 4,000 PlayStation 4s in this bot farm that got shut down by the basically the Ukrainian FBI, for lack of a better term. But we have to talk about it this week because apparently what they actually were using these 3,800 PS4s for was as a FIFA Ultimate Team bot farm, essentially.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah, to basically grind and like play, automate and play the FIFA Ultimate Team marketplace, which I'm assuming that they can then get super rare cards and then sell for profit to people that are idiots and buy FIFA cards for real money.
Wow, dude.
Which is insane to me.
Wow, dude. Like, wow. I'm watching Ted Lasso.
Right.
And Ted Lasso is a show about a guy, an American, who gets hired by an English football team to coach the team, right? And it's a very, very good show. And one of the characters comes in. He's a newer character. He comes in. He doesn't speak a lot of English because he's from like Guatemala or something like that. But he comes over to Ted one day and he's just like, football is life, man. Football is life. And that's
FIFA's life.
Apparently, because yeah, because Jesus, wow, dude, I can't, and there's no way to like, I'm trying to figure out a way to like regulate this shit, but you can't, can you?
I mean, EA could, but it would require them to functionally change how Ultimate Team works, because you have to get rid of the auction house. Here's what we've learned about video games. If you put an auction house in a video game, there are going to be people around the world who try to figure out how to farm it for profit. Like we saw it with Diablo 3, where you literally had like fucking South Korean like Diablo farmers playing Diablo for 16 hours a day consecutively just to find rare items that they could then sell for real money on the auction house. Like that was a thing that was happening. So to give you like a sense of why this is lucrative, so there's like black market sites you can go to that will sell you Ultimate Team coins. How they get on your account, I'm not really sure. I feel like you'd have to give them.
You have to give them
your credentials. Yeah,
you have to give them your login.
Like no, like what the hell are you doing? But you can, so like you can buy like 40,000 coins for a couple bucks, right? Like a couple dollars, you can buy 40,000 FIFA Ultimate Team coins. To give you some context of what that can buy you, so Leo Messi has the current FIFA event that's going on right now for Ultimate Team has a 99 rated card. It's like the best card that currently exists in the game, essentially. And that cost $1.5 million FUT coins on PlayStation currently.
Jesus.
So do the math. And for like $100, like you too could get this Messi card to play in your virtual game that will last you all of 2 months until FIFA 22 comes out and resets and hits the reset button on Ultimate Team. Because that's also what happens every year, is that it's like what you do in Ultimate Team is only good for that year's game. And I guess
so it's not perpetual. Like it's
no,
not
like it'll always exist in FIFA 21. So like if you just play FIFA 21 forever, or as long as they keep the servers up, then yeah, you'll have your shit. But when you migrate to FIFA 22, you are starting from nothing once again. Like the grind begins anew in FIFA Ultimate. That's the appeal. Like it's fun to build up your squad from zero. That's why you shouldn't spend real money or as little money as possible on FIFA Ultimate Team. Like when I was playing FIFA like hardcore, that was like back in FIFA 13. I probably spent like a good $150 over the course of the year on Ultimate Team to buy packs and shit like that, and I shouldn't have. Like it made my team really good.
Right. Look, I get it. Yeah. Look, you get no judgment from me. I get it. It's how the business model is. I get it. It's I think that people need to take personal responsibility. I also think that maybe EA could tone it down a bit. No. Right?
That they need that. What did they make last year? What are we talking about? $1.5 billion from Ultimate Team?
Yeah,
just from FIFA Ultimate Team by itself. Like
at this point, there should be no more new FIFA games, or like every FIFA game should be available for free at this point, because it's wild, man. And I'm not one of those people that's like, all corporations are the cause of all worldly destruction. And nah, man, like I get it. I do. But at the same time, god damn, like, like throw us a bone, man.
It's wild. It's wild to me. And again, so you like, how lucrative is this? You literally had almost, I have to reiterate the number because I don't feel like you're hearing me. And I mean, you, the listener, almost 4,000 PS4s on a server farm mining Ultimate Team, essentially. Like that's literally all they were doing, is just wheeling and dealing cards in the auction house for, because when you wheel and deal cards, like the FIFA auction house is not like it's not like you're buying GameStop stock in there where you're going to buy something incredibly cheap and sell it for much. Like you're lucky, like when you sell a card, unless it's like a big card that you happen to get in a pack, like you're lucky to get like a 10% profit is great. You know what I mean? It's the constant churn of cards. And then there eventually there is a ceiling, because like what cards go for, like eventually it's going to, there's going to be a ceiling that it hits of what cards you're selling for. So I just don't, that's what's in here. I don't know anyone that's paid like black market FIFA money to buy FIFA stuff on Ultimate. I suppose it's probably more prevalent in Europe, where FIFA is a much bigger
football is life,
right? Yes, football is life. It's wild though. It's wild. It's crazy. Yeah, you know what else is crazy, Micah? Jeff Bezos flying in a giant penis into space for 11 minutes.
I mean,
and then coming back to Earth.
I mean, he did it. He Lex Luthor flew into space.
So look,
on a dick rocket.
I admit that I didn't pay a lot of attention to the particulars of the Jeff Bezos space mission. Like I thought Jeff Bezos was going to hang out in space for like a minute or two. I didn't realize that he was going to literally like go up and then immediately come down.
Yeah.
And just be like, look, I was in space. Like, can you do an orbit, my dude? Like one, maybe? like you weren't in space. Like you just, like you were in space in the same way that the dude that jumped off of that balloon was in space.
Right. Like you're kind of in the upper lower atmosphere, right? Yeah. Like it's an amazing feat, all the people that actually performed all the work to get you up there. But when you say space,
yeah,
like I'm thinking like, yo, are you looking for Mass Effect relays while you up there? Because like that's the type of space that I'm trying to. And look, I'm not trying to knock this, right? Like this and what Branson is doing and what Elon Musk is doing. Like I I want to see this stuff, right? Like I want to see like space travel and shit. Like
I mean,
I'm ready.
I want to see it too, but I'd much rather see it coming from like NASA.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. But if it doesn't come from these guys, it's not gonna get done, right? Like so I get it. Just maybe make your rocket not look like a literal penis. Like it looks like a dick, yo. Like it really does.
But look, my point, the point that I was getting around to is that Jeff Bezos thanked you, Dense Pixels listeners specifically, for sending him to space. He did. He said thank you to all the Amazon employees and customers. You paid for this. No shit. We've been telling you for months. You're welcome, Jeff. We were kind of hoping you weren't going to come back.
I mean, at least go up there and like take a picture or something, man. Like, god damn, you yo-yoed it. Anyway, as we were disparaging this guy, you know, corporations run the world, folks. So we need you to go to densepixels.com/Amazon for all your Amazon purchases. When you go to densepixels.com/Amazon for all your Amazon purchases, you help the show by giving us a finder's fee, and you get whatever junk you ordered. Apparently, my wife just ordered a shirt that says, "Take a look, it's in a book, A Reading Rainbow." But like, take a look, it's in a book is over her chest, so I don't like that. Like, take a look, and then bam, here are your boobs. But you know, I'm not the type of guy that tells my wife what she can and cannot wear, because I know better. So go to densepixels.com/Amazon and you can buy junk like this. And hey, maybe Jeff will go back up there and maybe something will happen.
That'd be nice. Look, we're just get on the right side of history. Amazon is gonna be one of the 6 mega corporations that run the world in our near future. If
man,
science fiction has taught us anything.
Absolutely. I can't wait for all stores to be Taco Bell.
You know, it's gonna be weird. Like everyone freaked out a couple years ago, like when we hit the Back to the Future 2 date. That's I'm waiting for the Demolition Man date.
Yeah,
when we get to 2035. I feel like we're gonna be closer to Demolition Man than we were to Back to the Future 2 by the time we get there. So Daniel asks, EA Play Live is here. What Mass Effect news are we realistically getting? The answer to that question is none, because EA is poking holes in the balloon before EA Play even happens. Like, they're going out of their way to tell people what will not be at EA Play this year, so that no one gets their hopes up. They were like, no Mass Effect, no Dragon Age, no Skate 4, no Star Wars. Like they're just basically like, do not get your hopes up. We will not be victims to say you were disappointed because you didn't see this thing.
Right. So is this just going to be a Battlefield showcase? Like...
Battlefield. So they had the FIFA showcase today. That was like a half an hour. So like, I hit watch later because I like to see the new features that are coming to FIFA, and I scrubbed through the video, and like every point that I stopped in this half-hour video as I was scrubbing through was a picture of some dude's face talking about the feature and not really like gameplay. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch a 30-minute FIFA video about dudes talking about what's in FIFA. Like, show me the gameplay. Anyway, yeah, it's gonna be the Battlefield show, right? Like it's gonna be all about Battlefield. Like, we're gonna get 45 minutes of fucking Battlefield 2042. Let's fucking go. Like, it's Battlefield time. Like, you know, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I can't imagine, you know. And look, I'd rather them come out and just be like, look, don't, we're not doing Mass Effect or Dragon Age or, you know, stuff that half of our fan base is really into. We're going to be concerned about the other half that buys games and does not complain about it. we're going whale fishing. and that's who we're concerned about. So I get it.
Look, I can't blame them. Battlefield 5 was kind of a dud, so I think they want to make sure that they that they show up for this new one that's coming out.
Yeah.
Look, Malcolm says, you know why I'm here. Big E with the briefcase in hand. This was the only right decision, right? Like it was either going to be him or it was going to be Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins winning it didn't serve the story that they were going to tell with Seth Rollins.
No. So good. I'm glad that WWE listened to us last week. As we said that we wanted Big E to win. And I'm always a little wary when faces get the Money in the Bank briefcase, because it's such a great heel mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
It's how you get the heist of the century, right? Like, and so I'm always, whenever a face gets it, they don't want to like backstab. They want to like,
right. They're always like, I'm going to cash this in at SummerSlam in 3 weeks. Like, I'm booking the ticket now, so like you can prepare for this match that you're going to have.
Right. Like, all right. I mean, if that's the case, it's not. Then it's like, what's the point of having it? Right. Like, it can just be like, I'm next or whatever. Right. Like Goldberg cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase yesterday, right? Like, because he was just like,
the Goldberg in the Bank briefcase. Actually, no, I'm sorry. That sound like
yeah.
Like, no, we're not.
I didn't know you were.
Not around we want to go down. That's not
I didn't know you were a globalist, Brad.
Like the Goldberg, like, I show up twice a year and get a title match because I'm Goldberg.
Right.
That was so disappointing yesterday. Like as cool as John Cena was coming back and stuff like that. Like, I knew Goldberg was coming because they had teased it, and I thought maybe for like a millisecond when Keith Lee came out, I was like, oh, like they swerved us, and then no, here comes fucking Goldberg. They had a great camera cut, by the way, of when his music was playing. They had like the tight shot on Lashley in the ring, and he definitely mouthed like, this motherfucker over to MVP before they cut away. As if he didn't know that he was coming. So
I'm really glad at some of the work that Bobby Lashley is doing. He's kind of,
they timed out Kofi Kingston, didn't they?
They did.
Money in the Bank, man. That was like, I was waiting for Kofi to come back, and I was like, no, they're just going to squash him for 10 minutes. Like, wow, like that's, I mean, you're putting Lashley over strong. Like, I get it. Like, I understand what you're trying to do there, but
So do you think the story with Big E is that he's going to become champion, redeem his avenge his fallen brother, and
what, on Lashley?
Yeah, on Lashley. Do you think that's what's going to happen?
It'd be an interesting turn of events in some ways. Here's the thing though. If I'm logically, right, if I'm a babyface, and you're not going to do the, I'm going to cash in when you're vulnerable thing, which I feel like it's fine for like, I feel like doing that as a babyface is even fine, just because it's like, that's kind of the whole point of the briefcase, is to take advantage of the greatest opportunity that you have available.
Yeah, that's what Nikki Cross just did, right?
And she's a good guy. But if I'm a babyface and I'm not going to do the cash in at the most opportune time gimmick, why would you never just cash it in at WrestleMania? Like, why? Like, if you're going to do that, like, why wouldn't you just insert yourself into the main event at WrestleMania automatically, essentially?
Yeah, they have a that's kind of weird, right? Because that's an honor that's given to the Royal Rumble winner, right? Like, that's the whole point of it. Like, but at the same time, you still have this thing. And I mean, I don't know, man. I hate triple threat main events at WrestleMania. So I'm glad when they don't do it, but yeah, logically it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
But look, Biggie got it. I think it's a long time coming. I think that dude has been around long enough where and people people genuinely like him. The problem is going to be the thing that's going to be cool is the chase, but the thing that's going to suck excuse me, is the thing that sucks about all face champions is that they're like dogs catching cars. Once you get it, you don't really, I don't know what to do now.
I don't know. I feel like that the same reason I said he should win the briefcase. Like, I think of any babyface, like his personality lends itself best to holding that and playing with it and being champion and having fun being champion. Like you got the Big E experience. Like the he encapsulated it in the little thing that he had on SmackDown on Friday. I don't know if you watched SmackDown on Friday, but like they were interviewing Paul Heyman outside of Roman Reigns' dressing room, and then all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, he's like, "Oh, Paul Heyman," and like he did his whole fucking spiel. And of course, because it was Paul Heyman, like his reactions to everything were like tip top of the line, and just made it like it's like when Big E like started in, like Heyman was like, "Holy shit!" Like he's like fucking, and like his whole thing about, like, he basically just cut a promo about why he was going to win the match and this, that, or the other thing, and he's going to come for Roman Reigns and this and whatnot, and basically ran down Paul Heyman. But it's in his style. Like, he was having fun doing it, and it worked really well. Like I think he can overcome the boringness that you get with a lot of baby faces when they become champion, because his personality is such that he's energetic and exciting, and he feels genuine. Like that's the other reason.
Yeah.
I don't think that's why Drew McIntyre has worked as well as babyface, is because that doesn't feel, even though ironically I think that is Drew McIntyre, like that's how he actually is.
I think Drew McIntyre is a very nice guy, but
Yeah.
like a quiet guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he doesn't seem like a guy that has a lot of swagger, you know, like he doesn't seem like that type of guy, but he seems like a good guy. It feels like all three members of the New Day have been given a little bit of control as to how they are able to be represented. And I think that's where the genuineness comes from. You know, I listen to their podcasts every once in a while, and they you know, that's their personality just turned up a little bit, not even a lot, just a little bit, because they're already like pretty like wacky fun people. May I help you? Hi. Good night. All righty. But I forgot what I was saying. But
New Day's awesome. Big E's fun with the briefcase, and
yeah,
I look a couple of months. So
look, when he gets this thing, and I'm willing it. When he gets this thing, I hope that it's I think that it will be worthwhile. You know, of the three of them, he's got the McMahon look. Yeah, I might shed a tear, man. I might shed a tear. I like that guy, man. I want the best for him.
We'll finish up with Rev. What's an obscure gaming series that you've played that surprised you at how addicting it can be? He's been playing Blaster Master Zero on Xbox, which is pretty obscure, I would say.
Obscure game series.
Do you count Lumines as obscure? Like, Lumines, I feel like, is pretty obscure, and it's very addicting.
It's very addicting. I don't know if I would call it obscure, but maybe, right? Like, but I feel like if you could play it on a phone, it's not really obscure.
Okay.
I was looking for some obscure games, and I found there was one game that there's a couple that I found that I've played. One was this racing game called Split Second. And Split Second was, at least I think that's the word.
Yeah, it was.
Where it was like you're racing, but it's a racing game, but like directed by Michael Bay. And like all this stuff is happening all around you, and you gotta, so it's not just racing, but like bridges and scaffolding are falling down, and like the environment is changing and stuff.
Yeah, the concept of the game is that you're racing on like this reality TV show, and as you race well, like you build up a meter, and you could like trigger the meter to like blow up something in the environment that would hopefully like mess with your opponents.
Yeah. I enjoyed that game. it was a one trick pony, but it did the trick well. And then like once you got tired of seeing the same trick over and over again, that was the thing with it. Is Spec Ops: The Line an obscure game?
It is an obscure series. I feel like that Spec Ops is known enough. Like it's definitely like a cult favorite. So I guess you could consider that to be obscure. But would you say Spec Ops is addicting, or is it just
it's not
notable?
Really,
you know what I mean? Just because it told an interesting story.
I think that's where my hang up is the like I have games that have interesting stories to tell. Like this one game that I don't think anybody but me played called Shadow of Destiny, which was an old Konami game back when they used to make video games.
Like, was it actually Konami or was it like Ultra Games?
Nah, I think it was Konami. Okay. This was a PS2 game. And it starts off with your murder, and you are transported to this place, and you are brought back to life a half hour before your murder, and you have to kind of figure out like what's going on before that person tries to murder you again. I thought it was pretty interesting, but yeah, maybe I'm not getting the question right.
Oh wait, actually, you know what? I know what my answer is because I've talked about it on the show before. It's like my guilty pleasure, my secret shame of gaming currently right now. Like those Picross games that come out on the Nintendo Switch, like they've literally come out with like 6 of them so far. And I swear to God, every time they come out with one, easily put like 25 to 40 hours into it, just blowing through the different puzzles because I'm just addicted to Picross because it's fun. And it's a perfect game to do while you're doing something else. Like I don't just sit there and play Picross. Like it's what I play when I'm watching TV or doing this, that, or the other thing. So there's 6 of those, and easily between the 6 of them, I probably put in like 150 hours of Picross, which is painful to admit publicly, but it's true.
There you go.
Cool. Well, that's our show for this week. I appreciate you guys sending your questions, which you can do at densepixels.com/fans. If you've not joined our Discord yet, do it. Make sure you're subscribing wherever you get your podcast to this show and all the other TNT Studio shows. Head over to YouTube at youtube.com/densepixels, and then follow us on Twitch. I'm Dense Pixels Brad, Terrence is Version 410, and Carrie is Suppets Carrie. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here, and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.